after a few decades, the weeds start to grow again and eventually will take on the entire plot, and there's trouble with water with those stones. So we thought it probably best to take the stones up and to replace it with grass, to have grass cover that area. That was the first idea. The second idea, if you look to the left hand, if you look to that stone right there, that is Aunt Ossie's and Uncle Sol's stone. And of course, as you see, there's nothing in the front. It's turned around, and it was originally done that way. The stone was carved, and they felt that Aunt Ossie, who was in the hospital at the time, was going to die first, and Uncle Sol to follow much later on. As it turned out, it happened the other way, and Uncle Sol died first, and Aunt Ossie later. And Uncle Sol was buried right next to Susan Rice, and the only way they could put the stones so that the names were over the caskets was to turn it the opposite way. So I thought it might be a good idea to take the stone and turn it around the way it should be, and to have the carving on that side. So I talked to him about it, and he said that could be done. The best thing would be to get a new stone. So we decided to get a new stone to take up all of those small pebbles and to replace it with grass. Here's it from another view. You see the stones there. The stones literally go from this side, from here, the Barker identification stone right there, all the way as far as you can see. There's all stones under there with some grass that has grown in. And that just shows you how deep that was. There were rivets in the stones, and so we just decided it was best to take that all up. This is an old photograph. Bill, do you want to just discuss that?
That is after our grandmother's funeral. So that's in June 1939.
And this is Ollie's grave right here. This is Susan Rice's grave right here. I would love to know who this young girl is right there, who the young boy is right there. It seems like a lady is standing there and a gentleman over on the far side. But I have no idea who they are. I would love to find that out. So we took David, a student of mine, David Gunn. He's a graduate student, and he decided to work on this with me. And we first started taking pictures, and going from there, he went from the same angle of the previous picture, and I'm standing over there where that gentleman's standing, and his girlfriend is standing right there. So you see all the other tombstones that have been put up since that time. The first thing we did was to go in and take all of those pebbles out, as you can see there, and replace it. That's the new Greenway stone over there. It is now facing the correct way, and the names are correct. They're over the right spots. And the Barker stone, the base of the Barker stone was lifted a little bit because it sank, and you can see how the footstones have been moved. From there, the workers put in a number, he told me how many bags of soil in there to replace that area. It probably went down about 8 inches. That's the thickness of the stone. To go much farther down than that, we're running into the chance of hitting into a vault. So they didn't want to go much further than that. They then put that plastic underneath to keep any weeds from coming through, and then we're going to put soil on top of that and grass seed on top of that. Okay, this starts in another cemetery. If you'd like to go out and see the cemetery as it is now, the plot as it is now over at Harris Chapel, it's done. We're waiting for more grass to come up. The stones are pretty much, they've been cleaned. We've also had 10 other stones in the cemetery cleaned as well. Many of the stones there are covered with lichen, and some of them are very hard to read. But the ones who are related to the Barker family, we've had all cleaned, so the writing is easily done. This next cemetery, the second cemetery, is located in back of the barns at the Dexter intersection, in back of those barns that used to belong to Uncle Macon. In back of there is a cemetery there, and I think that was told us, I guess, orally, right? It's just oral history, that stones were back there. And, you know, I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to go back there and clean that up and move the trees, clean out that area. This is the way it looked originally. And so, you know, I approached Deborah and Eddie Ferguson, and I asked them if they wouldn't mind if we went up there and cleaned out that plot. And I really appreciate their generosity and kindness in allowing to go up there and do that. David and I went up and we rented a truck and all this other fun stuff and started to clean it out. This is one picture of the front. There's the back of the field there looking in. That's where it's overgrown. You can see there was a gigantic oak tree right along here that had fallen. There's the back side of it. And so we decided to take, I think we ended up going there 3 or 4 times to clean that out, and to clean out this far side and pull it all together and go down to the level of the dirt. And so we got to that point. And so we cleaned all of this. There is a deposit of bricks right here. And as you'll see, if you can see this, it's hard to see, but there is one of the footstones there. We put orange tapes around them to show where they're located. We had work done here. We hired somebody out of Greensboro and Atlanta to do a using a radar detecting device to go over this area, and then they take the information from that, put it through a computer program, and it can tell you with some accuracy where the inconsistencies in the soil are located, and therefore what most likely are graves underneath. So when we did this, he went over the land with machinery, and you can see this is part of the indentation he made. He takes it, it's like a lawnmower, and he takes it and goes back and forth, and he puts flags down where he's covered so he gets the exact outlay of the area, and he put it through the computer device, and he can pretty well establish that there are at least the possibility of 15 graves out there, maybe more, maybe less. A few of those might be dens of critters or some kind of roots, but most likely there are 15 graves out there. He did issue a report, which I can put in the back of the room if you'd like to see, and it has a picture of the graves over at Harris Chapel for not only the Barker Greenway plot, but the other plot where the Allens most likely are buried, to determine the number of graves there. And he also has pictures for this as well. So you can see where they think the graves lie, where the caskets are, and how they're arranged.
Jim?
Yes.
Just got us one letter. We've got copies of that report at Library in Oxford and at the one in Henderson, which y'all were nice enough to donate.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to see them, we've got them in the library.
Absolutely, yes. We handed over, we donate copies of the report, and so the information is readily available as it is down in Raleigh. Just so I think it's really important just to get the information out there. And,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That is believed to be a very, very old Barker cemetery, going well back. Uncle Macon related that was where his mother's first husband is buried. So that is where Charles Barker is buried, and Uncle Nathan said his family. So that means his father Ambrose, who was killed in the Civil War, is buried out there too, and his wife Jemina Wilson is buried out in there too. So those three are amongst the 15 that are possibly there.
Absolutely. I just put this down here that you can see. There is one of the stone markers there, one of the stone markers here, one of the stone markers there, one of the stone markers up here, there, and we put tape around those just to mark where those are located. There is a close-up of one of them. We at first believed that this and this, one was the small headstone, one was the small footstone, and that this may have been a child. Here's another one over here. According to the radar, the graves don't lie the way that we thought they did. But of course, they stress that it's not conclusive. The study isn't conclusive. And hopefully, 20, 50 years from now, they'll have better equipment where they can determine exactly where human remains might have been. This is the last one. This is a gigantic, is it an oak? I think it was an oak. And again, these are the deposits, the bricks that are there. We thought there might be a wall, might have been a wall at that time, and some sort of formation, but they seem to be distributed not only there, but back against some trees. And Mark Felch, who worked with the radar, thought they're probably bricks that were just discarded at one time. That most likely there was a house in an adjacent field, and the graveyard was right behind it, and the bricks they didn't use for part of the construction, where else do you put it but in back of the graveyard? And there are three more markers of those graves. This hole's been there forever. There used to be a little critter living in there. Now there's a bigger critter living behind inside this tree. So they just decided where they're going to live. But I think just all in all that I think it's just important from my point of view to preserve these cemeteries and find out as much as we can about who's buried there, and some we may never find that out, but to acknowledge that those cemeteries are there and to keep them clean and to distribute the information as much as we can. Okay, thank you very much.